Now, neuropsychology by Major Rashella. How much role did that play in choosing this career for you?
Well, a huge role
Mm,
actually, and it really started way back when I was early in the field. I started out as a paraprofessional working in a school, which is an instructional aide basically. And I remember I initially wanted to become a teacher, but I have to tell you the story because it's the foundation of everything, you
please
know?
do.
And I was working with this little young man. He was a fourth grader and, was known to be a troublemaker, had a lot of behavioral issues. Teacher couldn't get a hold of the parent, needed to do a parent conference. The child lived with his grandmother, father in prison for killing mom. Okay. So this little guy suffered a lot of trauma. And going out to the home with the teacher, looking inside the home. The grandmother welcomed us in. And when I walked in, all I saw was a single chair in the living room. I didn't walk through the house, so I don't know what they had in the bedroom, but I could see that this grandmother was doing the best she could for her grandson. Very come from very humble beginnings, obviously, very poor. And it was then that I realized I want to do more for children and families. Being a teacher will limit me from being able to go into the home and really work with children the way I wanted to, the way I
Hmm.
felt my calling was. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning. And years of, as a school counselor, school psych, working with children with significant behavioral needs, mental health, children who, have disabilities, and we're at risk. It wasn't until Kaiser Permanente, if you do the research,
Hmm.
it's something called ACEs, and they did
I'm
a
sorry, what is it
large
called? AC.
ACEs,
Can
ACES.
got it. Thank you.
And it's a research longitudinal, if I can pronounce that correctly, study where they followed a large group of individuals from early age who were exposed to trauma
Mm,
and followed them through adulthood. And through this ACEs study, we have learned the significant effects that trauma has on children
mm.
and the developing brain. And it was then when I realized, oh my gosh, boom, all the kids, I mean, it just clicked in my head as a psychologist. There was something very common with our kids who suffered from trauma, and it was these significant or severe, severe behaviors that we were seeing in the school environment. Way back when, 15 years ago, it was a very small number of children that I saw with these severe behaviors.
Mm.
Now, 15, 20 years later, we have large number of children entering our schools who have significant or severe behaviors. But when you do the research and you start looking at their background, pretty much 90 some percent of them have suffered through trauma.
Right. The main cause.
And mhm, mhm.
I'm listening, please.
Yes. And then from there, just the last few years,
Mm.
us as educators have learned that, hey, we need to do things different. The children we're serving today are not the same children we served 20 years, 30 years ago. And so we need to look within ourselves and our structures in the school environment. What are we doing? And how can we better serve these kids that are coming to us? We
Hmm.
have to change what we're doing, not expect change from our kids, because that comes in time. but we have to change what we're doing in the school environment in terms of our practices, our structures, our supports, so that we are reaching all kids and
Hmm.
supporting all kids and ensuring that they are developing and growing and becoming citizens, productive citizens at their ability.